I just want to let everybody kind of get in. People filled out some forms in the back. But I'm Jeff Knop, and I'm the president of the Booster Club this year. And I appreciate everybody coming out to meet the coach. It was something we wanted to do. We wanted you guys to be able to meet the coach and hear his vision and plans for this year and for the future. And everybody is going to be real excited in hearing what this coach has got to say. We're really, really lucky and fortunate to have him, and he's going to do a super job for us. Before I get started into the Booster Club part, I want to thank some folks. First off, I want to thank Coach Britton. I don't think he's here, but him and his staff for the 17 years that they put into to each one of the young men here, and doing a great job and giving heart and effort. And we really appreciate what they did. The past quarterback club last year, who worked really hard, did a great job. If any of those are here, I know some of them's here. Would you stand up? I just wanted to give you a round of applause and appreciation.
Stand up.
Most of the ones on the quarterback club last year have young men that's going to be seniors this time. And you prefer, if you can, to let them kind of have a year to where they get to enjoy their son, and they're not just pressed for doing quarterback club duty all the time. But with that, we need their help still. The quarterback club really needs all of those people. They're heavy hitters, know what to do, and we really need their support. Would like to thank from the heart with our decorations out there and the banners, which are outstanding, and I appreciate them doing that. And we had our Welcome the Coach hat that was provided by the Spirit Shop and Mr. Ron Sanford and family, set up with Mr. Coach Plunkett there, so something to welcome him there. I want to talk to you about the Booster Club and your responsibilities and kind of what the expectations are. And from the football standpoint, we've set it up, and people set it up before me. We're trying to add on to it to where you're not out selling 12 and 15 different things. A lot of clubs ask you to do that. A lot of clubs ask you to come in and stroke a big check right off the bat. We're not asking you to do that. We really expect you to do two things. And with those two things, they're real important that we do those two things. The first one is we have our drawdown fundraiser. And a lot of you have never been around the drawdown, so I really want to take some time and explain what that is so you understand it. This is a drawdown ticket, and each player and parent will get a set of 5 of these, okay? We're asking you to sell 5 drawdown tickets. It's your responsibility. Each ticket is $100, okay? That $100 will put you in for a chance to win $10,000. This fundraiser's been going on quite a bit, and we make a lot of good money off of it. It keeps you from having to go out and sell candles and magazines and write a big check. So it's a really big deal that we make this successful. The other thing to make it successful is if we give this up, you've got a lot of other bands, baseball, that will take it tomorrow. So we need to keep this. We need to do a good job with it. And again, it's a big deal. But how the ticket works, you'll sell 5 tickets for $100. There's a check mark on here that you can buy insurance with that. And it's really a benefit to our club if you sell insurance. Insurance is $25, so it makes the ticket $125. But what you get is if we start pulling names out and your ticket is pulled out, if you didn't buy insurance, you're done for the night. If you spent $25 more, then your ticket will go back in there. So it's just like you really bought 2 tickets. So it's a benefit to the person buying them, but from the Booster Club, $25 really adds up to our funds, okay? So again, your expectation is to sell 5 tickets. I want to make it clear, if anyone in this room has a hardship case, please communicate that to the coach or myself that you're in this situation. We kind of want to know that. And I promise you, if your son is doing everything the coach wants him to do, he's at workouts, he's trying to be on the team, we will, from a quarterback club perspective, we will help you get your sold if there's any hardship cases. Might be some of you that just don't want to fool with it, and I understand that. Everybody's busy. If that's the case, I just ask you to write me a $500 check, and you'll be done with it. There's nothing else you have to do, okay? That's our first gotta have. With this ticket, it's March the 2nd at Terry Pines. That's a Friday night. And when you come to this, each ticket you will be given a dinner. If 2 of you come and you only have 1 ticket, an additional dinner is $15, okay? But we have a big time. We play some games there. We have the drawdown. We eat. And the community really gets out and supports us on this. It's just a great night to get out and get together and raise the money that's needed for the Booster Club. The Booster Club provides all the things the coach gets a separate football fund. There's a lot of things that don't go with that. For example, he has asked to spend around $30,000 for each player for a spirit pack, which he'll let you know kind of what's in there, but it's all the clothes the young men are going to wear. We're going to have your shoes paid for. We're going to have your socks paid for. Everything you're going to need is going to be paid for, okay? Your meals. Quarterback Club provides a ton of meals for these young men. Sometimes before games, a lot of times after games, but they will be taken care of. So we don't take this money and spend it unwisely. We really think about what we want to spend it on, and every bit of it goes back to the young men, okay? I said there's 2 things I need you to do. One of them, sell the drawdown tickets, 5 of them. The second thing is to join the quarterback club. It's only a $50 donation, but I need everyone joining that. That extra little money is another little fund to buy a lot of the before game meals with. That's not donated. So it's really big, and again, every dollar of that will go for these young men. Every single dollar, I promise. As I said, we have a Booster Club right now. I have 5 officers, and then we have 8 representatives. I have 2 from each class. All of those that are on the club, would you stand up right now? And I just want to thank all of these folks. Thank you a lot. I asked each one of these to kind of help our team move forward with the Booster Club, and I had none of them said I won't help you. And anytime I've asked, hey, we want to do this, some suggestions, every one of them jumps in, and it's amazing. But us 12 or 13 people cannot do it all. We have different committees for different things. We will not ask you to run and do a lot of stuff. It'll be pretty simple. We value your suggestions. We value your time, and just letting you know, I really need your help. And if you would just volunteer to help us in any way, just let me know. Hey, I'd love to help do something. On Friday nights, they blow the tunnel up. It takes 6 or 7 men down there, 8 men to kind of get that going. That's a big deal. You can volunteer for that. You get on the field and see the players run out. It's a pretty big deal. Those are things you can do. We'll eventually have a program that we might make $4,000 or $5,000 off the program. That's a lot of work. Christy Bush heads that up, but we need people helping organize that. So it's a big deal for you just to raise your hand and we'll give you something to do, and it won't be a lot, I promise. Again, I've got two gotta-haves. Drawdown, join the quarterback club. If you guys, when you came in, some of you stopped at our tables. We've got a senior table, a junior table, a sophomore, and a freshman. That table is set up with 2 senior representatives all the way down to the freshmen. And when I say freshman, that is the 8th grade that's going to be freshmen when the season starts. But what I'm asking you to do, you're required to stop at these tables. I've got 2 forms we need you to fill out. One is just your information, your cell phone, your son's cell phone, your email. That way we can get you on a group list where you know what the heck's going on. A lot of times the coach might be having a practice, bad weather comes up and you want to know, well, should I pick him up or not? We're going to do everything we can to get the info from him and get it to you where you can have a better day and plan your day. So by giving us your information, we can therefore give you good communication, okay? Here's some fundraisers that we do that I'm not going to ask any of you mandatory to do, but I want you to know we have them out there because a lot of you are going to be interested in them. The first one is we have reserve seating that we sell every year. The gentleman that started that, Ron, you stand up. Ron Sanford, who owns the Spirit Shop. Ron came in when he was the quarterback club president and spent the money to put the seats in. Now, why that's a big deal is every year we make about $30,000 off those seats. So it's the gift that keeps giving. It's a big, big deal. What we've decided to do this year, last couple of years, I believe there were $125 to get a reserve seat, and you get your season ticket with that. It's a heck of a deal. We're going to go $100 on those, but they're going to go pretty quick, and you really need to let Jason Moore, will be in the back, he's in charge of that. You definitely can let me know, the son or the coach know, let us know you want us to get in touch with you about these seats. But you've got your reserve seat, you don't have to get to the games early, they're going to be there, and you've got admission in. Again, they're $100 a ticket. This is something you don't have to do, but the quarterback club, we make the money off of it. So it's a big deal. Something Ron did that's just great. Again, the gift that keeps on giving, and I appreciate someone starting that years ago. The other things we have, you're not obligated to do, but we have the nice electronic scoreboard. We sell ads for that. If you have a business, work for somebody that has a business, we need to get them on there. That spot runs every 9 seconds. You will see during every event that's held at Cullman High School other than the track meet, every event they're flashing your business up there, okay? So that's another way we get money in that you don't have to fork a big check or sell candles or all the other stuff that some people have to sell out there. We try to make it as easy as possible. We have our program that we sell, that you'll be asked later on during the year. You'll be given a chance to put your son, if you've got someone in the van or a cheerleader, you'll be able to sell a program for that. And the last thing we're doing, and we're starting this up like Mr. Sanford did. They started it last year, and it just didn't quite get finished. But the visitors section, when you go down Stadium Drive, we're going to be putting up metal signs along that. It's tilted where it's perfect and great advertising. Those advertising spots are going to be about $5,000. They're going to be huge signs that stays up 365 days a year. And people are going, there's not going to be but about 14 or 15. They're going to go quick. So if you have a business or know someone that owns one, please get in touch with me, and we'll give them first dibs on them, and they will love having that sign. It's going to be a great value. But again, that money is money that's going to go to our team, our boys, our coaches, and it's money you don't have to come up with, okay? That is all I have. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to lead the Booster Club. I really am leaning on all of you to help out. We're going to be a group that just pulls in the same direction and positive. And again, anything the coach tells me he needs to make it safer for these boys, to make it better for these boys, I'm going to do everything I can to get it. And I need your support. I'm going to ask Ms. Hall to come up and introduce our coach. And I know as a Booster Club, he has spoke to us, and we are pumped to have this guy as our coach. We're really, really lucky, and he's going to do a great, great job. Again, thanks to the sponsors of our hat and all of our decorations and the quarterback clubs. And Ms. Hall, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Ken.
Yes, ma'am. On the board, they're $2,500 for the scoreboard. To run your ad there, it's $2,500. And thank you for asking that question. But I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hall to introduce Coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. I hope I can have my voice carry. I've been battling bronchitis a little bit. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to our quarterback club. I have been where you are as a football parent, and I know what it takes for you guys to make this program work for our kids. And you work tirelessly, and you volunteer time and effort and energy and money, and it is greatly appreciated. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, because of these kids, that I appreciate what you do. Yes, they're your sons, but collectively what you do combined together makes for a great program for them. Back in September, after Coach Britton announced his retirement, Chad invited me to the quarterback club to kind of go over what was this process going to look like. So we had a survey, and you guys filled out what you thought you wanted in a coach. And when I read your survey comments, for those of you who were there that completed it, it mirrored 100% what we had as a school board and a superintendent and administration at the high school, what we wanted for our kids and for our program. And Coach Plunkett will tell you he's going to raise them, that we call them young men. And I said, I get it, but the reason that I call them kids, and y'all heard me say this, I call them my kids because when you're not here, they're my responsibility. And so when I say my kids, you know I'm looking at them as my own, and I love each and every one of them. So the vision that you had for your sons is the same vision that I have for our students. And word for word, every priority that you had was the same priority that we had. You wanted a coach to come in and develop a premier program for our student athletes. You wanted a coach that would come and create a developmental program from really youth leagues all the way up. You know, there was a lot of conversation about ninth grade. When we started looking at it, it's really everybody. We need to be communicating with our youth leagues, our middle school. And the first meeting that Coach Plunkett had was with Gerald Turner. That was the very first meeting he had. And I think, Coach Turner, are you here tonight?
Yes, he's the player.
There you are, Coach. Stand up. Welcome to your staff. You know, I met with Coach. This interview process, Coach and I sat down and I said, I've learned a lot about being a high school principal and what it takes to run these types of programs, and shame on me that I never really said, I believe you're a part of our staff. You know, because when you're looking at football, it's the Cullman football program. There's not a separate program from middle school to high school. It's the Cullman football program. So, yeah, there was a lot of learning and things that we had to go through there, but that's what you wanted. You wanted someone that would raise young men to be great men, husbands and fathers and leaders in our community. You wanted someone focused on academic achievement, that had good morals and good character. And you wanted someone, this was overwhelming amongst your responses, you wanted someone that would help an athlete make it to the next level. Not just play in high school, but if they wanted to play beyond and have an opportunity to get their education, that was a priority for you too. And so I think, Joey Orr's here tonight, we have a school board member, as a potential parent, I guess. No, you're here, school board member. But those were the things that we were looking for, and you were looking for those same things. So as the process evolved, we interviewed, we examined, we did research, we talked to some of you, we heard different ideas, and I knew about Coach Plunkett for a while. And I kept saying, I want to wait. I want to wait before I talk to him because, and actually I had someone say, you know who's going to be your coach? It's going to be Coach Matt Plunkett. And I said, well, I just want to wait. I want to wait until I know it's right. And so over the Christmas break, took some time, got away from everything, and I texted him on New Year's Day, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that, but I said, can you talk? And he called me, and I guess we talked for about 2 hours maybe. He was in Texas. We met the next day. Things moved really quickly because you know when God's in control, the doors just open and it all happens fast. And so I'm excited to tell you that we have found a man to lead the program that is everything that you were looking for and everything that we were looking for. Coach Matt Plunkett.
Well, first off, it's an honor, and I'm a pretty emotional guy, but I don't really wear my emotions on my sleeve. I really, it's a big deal to be here, Cullman. Okay, and there's a lot I could get up here and talk to you guys about tonight, about what an honor it is, but this just ain't about football to me. Okay, I miss my wife right now, and I wish that she was here because she's just as big a part of this than I am, if not bigger, because she's an impact player, and she's the best assistant that I'll ever have, and that's how much my wife means to me. And I proposed to her after the school in Texas that I was fortunate enough to coach at, our school's first ever playoff win in the history of the school, and I proposed to her that night, and she's been right in the middle of it, and so. Definitely, she's typically here at these things, but we're closing on our house in Gardendale, and we just moved into our home, my grandmother's old home in Cullman County. But I wish I could introduce her to you tonight. We've got 2 little girls, Madison and Mackenzie, that are 3 and 1, and I'll tell you, the fact that I'm here really had a lot to do with them because I view Cullman as one of the best school system that my girls could be a part of. The best school system. And my sister and I were fortunate enough to go through a good school system, and I knew that that was something important for my parents. And now I'm responsible for those 2, and I wanted them in the best. And I knew that Cullman could provide that. And so when I talk about my emotions, you're going to see me not just fighting for these guys over here to help them become better men, better husbands, and better fathers. I'm fighting for that 3-year-old and that 1-year-old to be a great example to them. Okay, to be able to stand up to adversity, and because this world, we live in a tough world, a really tough world, and we're defined, in so many different ways by society. And I don't want our players, and I definitely don't want my daughters defined in any other way than they could stand up to their challenges, and they learned how to stand on their own 2 feet, and they didn't expect other people to go do things for them. And so I want my daughters to be able to do that, and I'm going to teach these guys how to do that, to face their challenges, to come talk to me about how I can help them. If there's issues, come find me. Let's not create a lot of other things behind the scenes. Let's find answers, not create problems. And those are the things that the basis of this program will be about. Let's find answers, because we can find answers, I can assure you. There's some hard work, some elbow grease. I was born and raised on a 600-acre cattle farm, about 8 chicken houses, and I've shoveled my share of horse poop, and I've picked up dead chickens my whole life. And those things taught me just as much as my education. I can assure you. I can assure you. So my roots are in Cullman County. Both my grandfathers worked hard for this county and this city for their entire life. And I watched them do that with great character and great discipline, and they were people that were role models in my life. My father graduated from Fairview High School with about 98% of other members of my family. And so we always knew coming to Cullman was a big deal, okay? And so I've said this a lot, Cullman is a really, really big deal for me and my family, a very big deal. And I sit back and I think about all the things that could happen, you know, over a 20-year time span, you know, of my career, and sitting able to say, man, I want to retire at Cullman High School, being able to see 2 daughters and hundreds of football players walk across the stage at Cullman High School, being able to see hundreds of football players, you know, sign, you know, scholarships or academic aid letters and stuff like that to NAIA schools, Division II schools, Division III schools, Division I schools. You know, being able to see those things happen, that's just pretty awesome and a big time vision, okay? And a lot of people have talked to me about, Coach, how many games are the Bearcats going to win? How many games are the Bearcats going to win? That seems to be what's on everybody's mind. And I told our players this the other day, that's really the last thing on my mind right now, because I understand that it takes people to be successful. And if I'm a win at all costs type guy, and I feel like, and I coach that way, that I need to figure out a way, because I'm not going to focus on my job being on the line. You know what's on the line? These guys' lives and their futures. And we need to teach them how to become hardworking, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. When times get tough with their families one day, and it's hard paying those bills like we've all been there, how they handle that and how they work together. And they've been through that. And they remember that Sweet 16 that we do in the weight room on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, how tough they got. But they figured out a way to rise up above that, because life's going to be a lot tougher than those Sweet 16s at times. But we want to try to help them and give them that vision that we can do this thing together. So we're going to focus on building people, better people, because when you have good people, the coach's job is really easy when you have good people. And my job is going to be player development. And I feel like that's the way to be successful. All those other things take care of itself when you surround yourself with great people. So when you ask me how many games are the Bearcats going to win, just remember that these guys right here are my top priority. So you can ask me, you know, about Sullins or Doolin and all those guys, because those are the guys, man, that are putting it in and getting after it. And we just want to create a vision for them that really excites them, and that we want them to look forward to coming to Cullman Bearcat football practice every day and being excited about that. And that's something that I've been around coaches my whole life, that I woke up and I could not wait to be around Cody Gross, you know, who was a coach at North Alabama when I was up there. I couldn't wait to be around Sam Graham every day. Those guys got me motivated. Coach Graham was the coach at UNA. I couldn't wait to be around Chuck Broyles, who was the head coach that hired me at Pittsburgh State. And I look forward to being around Coach Broyles every day, because he's going to put his arm around me, he's going to whisper in my ear as a young coach, and he was going to give me a vision about where he wanted me to be as a coach. And yet he never raised his voice. That was what was amazing. I'm a pretty intense guy, and you guys will see me swinging from the hip and all that stuff on Friday nights, getting it after for the Bearcats, okay, and coaching hard for these guys. But Chuck Broyles never raised his voice. And he was the fastest coach in the history of college football to win 150 games. And I got to be around that guy. But his players respected him so much. And I learned from a guy like Ken Sparks at Carson Newman College, who taught me to coach the heart of the player. That if you didn't really go after that player's heart, you'd never reach his full potential. Because the heart allows you to understand what your true ceiling is. Because the outside, man, we all have this flesh on the outside of us that fails a lot. But you've got to learn how to tap into that heart. You really do. When times get tough and life knocks you to your knees, you got to tap into that heart. And those are the big things that Ken Sparks taught me at Carson Newman. And then I had the opportunity to work for probably the most passionate guy I've ever been around, is Bart Tatum at Missouri Southern. And I went out to Missouri Southern. Coach Tatum wanted to hire me as a receiver coach. And he said, Coach, I can't hire you full-time day one, but within a year, I'm going to hire you full-time. And I left Carson Newman in Tennessee to go do that, because I was kind of coaching tight ends and tackles with another coach, and he was going to give me my own position room and an opportunity to grow and develop and a pathway to a full-time job. And within a year, I was the recruiting coordinator and offensive line coach at Missouri Southern at the college level, and I never played a snap or learned offensive line really from a leadership standpoint a day in my life. But Coach Tatum believed in me due to my work ethic, my attitude, how the players respected me as a person more than anything else. And so Coach Tatum was somebody that gave me my first opportunity. He was so passionate. And this is kind of the cool story with me about how I ended up meeting my wife one day, which is kind of my favorite part of my story, is Coach Tatum walked in one day and said, we can't win at Missouri Southern. Missouri Southern hadn't had a winning football season in 15 years. And he said, we're not able to compete with Pittsburgh State and Central Missouri and Northwest Missouri State recruiting. He said, Plunkett, you're my best recruiter. I got to send you into Texas. Let's go find some players in Texas. So he gave me this book about this thick, and he said, I've got to be in Kansas City this afternoon. And he said, I want you to go through this book and find as many coaches that's got some players as possible. And you set the next 2 weeks, I'm going to give you a card. You go to Texas and recruit, and don't come back without some players that can help us win. And so he left, and I walked in. I set this book down on the table, and I thought, man, where do I start? There's 600,000 high schools in the state of Texas. So I literally shut my eyes one day, and I went down and I stopped, and I said, whatever school I stop on, that's the first school I'm going to call. And I called China Spring High School in Waco, Texas. And the head football coach was Mark Bell. And I walked in there, and Mark Bell had a receiver on his team named Mike Kicks. And Mike Kicks was the all-time leading receiver in the history of the state of Texas, high school football. But he was 5'8", about 170 pounds, and he had no offers from any colleges just because he was a shorter guy. And there was all kind of 6'3", 6'4" receivers in Texas that every college coach wanted. So I went down there and developed a great relationship with Mike. But long story short, the person that Coach Bell wanted to meet was his 9th grade son, who was named Brian Bell. That was about 120 pounds, soaking wet, and 6'2". And Coach Bell really thought all he'd ever play is golf at the high school level. But he said, Coach, his older brother, Sean, just finished a 4-year career at Baylor University as the starting quarterback and was a walk-on. I think Brian might develop later on in life. And I feel like maybe he's just a guy that if you just keep an eye on him for the next few years, he might turn into something. Well, Brian Bell ended up being the all-time winningest quarterback in the history of Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas. And Sam Houston State University offered him a day before National Signing Day. And so he had to decommit from coming to Missouri Southern because I had recruited him for 3 years about as hard as anybody could possibly recruit him. And his only in-state offer was from Sam Houston. And he couldn't say no to Texas. That was it, because that's where he was born and raised, and he loved it. Well, little did I know when Brian called me to say, Coach, I'm going to say yes to Sam Houston State, but thank you so much for all you've done. How I handled that conversation with Brian that day really set the line for the reason I have Madison and McKenzie. And obviously I said some things to Brian that we shed some tears over the phone because we had an unbelievable relationship, and it was bigger than football. And the next phone call I get about 10 minutes later was Coach Mark Bell, who's top 25 winningest coach in the history, high school football coach in the history of the state of Texas. Who's one of my best friends that I rely on every day. And he's still currently the head football coach at China Spring High School. And Coach Bell said, Coach, you didn't know this, but all of our family was on speakerphone with that conversation you just had with my youngest son, Brian. And he said, my oldest son just got offered a head football coaching job at Magnolia West High School just north of Houston. And it's a tremendous school system. They offered me the job, but I really wanted to keep Brian and my family here in Waco. And I kind of directed him towards Sean. He's ready to take over a big program. And we would love for you to join him in building that program and getting it going, because it's not in a good situation. They need some good leadership, some good winners. So I left Missouri Southern the next day to go interview for that job. They offered me the job down there, and I came back and told Coach Tatum I'd be moving to Texas to coach Texas high school football. And so my wife was an art teacher at that school, and I obviously had no idea. And so it's amazing how God works. It's amazing when you really sit back, because my life verse is 2 Timothy 2:13. When we are faithless, he remains faithful. And there's been times in my life I have been faithless about some things, but God has always remained faithful. He's always provided a path. And so we'll stand firm on that and those things in my life, in my career here at Cullman High School. and we'll set a pathway for these players. And the thing that's going to allow them to be successful is to be willing to follow a really difficult path, because success does not come easy. Success comes with discipline, character, hard work, being very realistic with your initial goals, setting some goals that we can go after initially, but not being afraid to set our goals extremely high. With what most people would say Cullman High School can't. Cullman High School can achieve a lot of things, but can Cullman High School achieve a 6A state championship? Can Cullman High School win back-to-back region championships? I believe they can. And these players are going to believe they can, and this whole city is going to believe they can. Okay? Because I know what Cullman's expectations are. And I'm excited about that. Very excited about that. A lot of people say, Coach, the pressure's on. You ready for this? Guys, let me tell you something. Raising, and most of you guys are obviously all parents in this room. Raising children, let me tell you something. Coaching football, bring it on. Let's go. You got me. That 1-year-old Mackenzie Plunkett, let me tell you something. That girl's full speed every day, okay? And she can probably tackle harder than some of these guys can right now. She'll hit you full speed. But that's exciting. And we're going to set our standards extremely high around here. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, and ended up at Gardendale High School as the head football coach in 2013. And we went in there and flipped that program around. Gardendale had not really been too successful over the last 15 years. Gardendale was one of the most dominant high school football programs in the late 70s and 80s. And they, from 1990 all the way through 2012, there's been a good season here and then 7 or 8 bad seasons, good season here, 7 or 8 bad seasons, just nothing consistent. There's always been, good people and good athletes at Gardendale. But I tell you what, we focused on those things and got that program turned around. I've got a lot of great memories and a lot of pride about what we were able to accomplish as a coaching staff at Gardendale High School. But there was always something missing. And I really felt like, as much as we poured into that thing, there was always something missing, because I believed in longevity. And Cullman was a place that I always wanted to be. I just didn't know at what point in my career it was going to happen. And so obviously I'm so thankful to be here and ready to go and lead the Bearcats every day. But I'm going to tell you this. Our program's #1 stamp is going to be class. We will be known as the classiest football program in the history of high school football. We'll be classy, from how we honor our opponent's school songs, to how we shake hands, how we look people in the eye, how we leave locker rooms cleaner than what we found it. All those things. We'll be a very classy football program. And if you don't buy into class, you're not going to play at Cullman High School. Okay? Because there's obviously a lot of jawing and stuff going on. And unsportsmanlike stuff just ain't going to fly with me. Okay? So you're going to be a yes sir, no sir guy, and yes, Mr. Official, no, Mr. Official. And Coach Plunkett's going to fight those battles. I want our players to play with class and play hard. Knock somebody on the rear end and just say, hey, I'll be back in a second. That's it. Okay? And that's going to be the mentality. And that's all that really needs to be said and done. And let's cheer with our guys. Let's celebrate with our team. So we're going to start out with teaching these guys how to have some class. Okay? From what I expect when they have hats on, that we're wearing forward in the direction we're going and not back. Okay? And those are things that I expect here. Okay? So that's just what we're going to do. So I've told you a little bit about me and my family. Our #1 focus, building and developing Bearcats. Focus is not going to be on winning games. We're going to put all our focus into building and developing great people. Winning takes care of itself, and those things are done. The coach has to set the standard, and he has to be the greatest example of the standard every day. Okay? And that's how it's going to be. We hope and pray this football program will be the difference maker in your son's life. I heard a great story about 2 years ago. I was at a coaching clinic, and I went to hear Jim Harbaugh speak. Love him or hate him, the guy's a pretty good football coach. Okay, and I heard him speak, and he shared a story about his junior year at University of Michigan. And Bo Schembechler was the coach at the University of Michigan at the time. And Jim Harbaugh walked in. They were going to open up the #1 ranked team in the country, University of Miami, who had just won the national championship in 1985. And Jim Harbaugh walked in, was named the starting quarterback at the University of Michigan. And he walked in and he said, Coach Schembeckler, we're all excited about the season. What type of season do you think we're going to have, Coach? He said, do you think we can win, the Big Ten this year? Do you think we can compete for the national championship? And Coach Schembeckler moved his glasses down and he looked at him for a few minutes. He said, come back and ask me in 20 years. Because I'll tell you in 20 years what type of team we're going to have. You raise some good kids, stick together with your wife, family, you hold things together as the man of your household, and you bring your wife and kids and introduce them to me in about 20 years, and I'll tell you exactly what type of football program we have. That right there is everything. Teaching these guys that, to stick together when times get tough. That right there is the most important thing to me than anything else in this football program, is that they learn to stick together when times get tough, when so many other things around them separate and fall apart. And I know that's a different thing in today's society. And some of you may have thought, man, he's going to come in here and talk to us about how we're going to win a region championship tomorrow. You got me? But it starts with them, and it finishes with them. Okay? Because we're going to ask an awful lot of them every day. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be extremely difficult. But they're going to make it. Okay? They're going to make it. And I would never ask them to do anything that I wasn't willing to do. And I would never ask them to do anything that I would never ask a son of my own or a daughter of my own. Okay? And that's the feet I'm going to stand on. That's the ground I'm going to stand on. That's the foundation that I'm going to stand on every day at Cullman High School. Our off-season program. Okay? And Ms. Hall kind of laughs at me about this a little bit, but I'm a very routine-oriented guy. And I like to do, we do this, we start here, we finish here. We do this, we go fast, we do this every day. Same time, next day. Same time, next day. Just, we can almost do it with our eyes closed. We just know it better be Bearcat speed every day, full speed, getting at it. And so I've had to kind of learn our schedule here a little bit, okay? And so we've obviously got a first period most every day and a seventh period most every day except Wednesday. So I've kind of turned Wednesday into Bearcat day. Everybody just shows up at 2 o'clock, okay? And then our middle school guys come in about towards the end of the Bearcat day. They get there, but right now our incoming ninth graders have been working out with us most every day. And I've had a couple of parents reach out to me, Coach, are they done yet? Coach, I've been waiting a little bit, all these things. We'll be done at 3:30 is kind of when I've told the middle school guys and the high school guys, if they're in that seventh period athletics, they're done at 3:30 or earlier every day, okay? We finished today around 3:05. I had a quick little meeting with them to go over some expectations about some things in our program that I'll share with you as well. But we were done. They walked out of there at 3:30. So 3:30 right now with me, if you're picking up your son's seventh period, they'll be done, okay? When we start spring training, it'll obviously be a little bit later. And hopefully this is something that we put together for you guys that you guys can follow, okay? And if you've ever got any questions about this, I want this to be very self-explanatory and easy for you. And it was important for me to have this ready for you guys tonight. So if you did not get one as a parent, okay, I made 100 copies tonight. I think some of our players may have one, and there may be some families that have more than one. We're going to get this posted on our school webpage. I'll get with Mr. Knop and some of our other representatives, and we'll make sure it's posted everywhere for you guys. But I want you to have a hard copy to put on your refrigerator, because this outlines everything all the way through football season for you to have as a parent and go ahead and get your summer completely planned. And I really try to work with you big time. We ask our players to attend 24 workouts out of 30 opportunities. And there's built-in off periods for you to take vacations and all those things. And I built a 6-day flex period that I really like, something I picked up on in Texas, because obviously there's some days that you can't work anything around. So we feel like the secret number is 24 summer workouts, okay? And we're gonna have 30 opportunities to make 24 that are mandatory, okay? So that's how that goes, because I know those are a lot of questions. Well, Coach, I've got this one day. Well, hey, 24 out of 30. Okay, 24 out of 30, and something that I do to really motivate our players is, and our players have always liked this when we've done this, and it's to really, because you don't want to be that one guy on the sideline that don't have helmet stickers. So for every day of that 24 that you make, you earn a helmet sticker. And you get 24 helmet stickers going into the season if you were at all 24 workouts. If you attend all 30 I know I've had players at Gardendale and in the past at Magnolia West that made all 30 workouts, and we give them a 100% sticker on the back of their helmet as well. If they made 100%. That obviously will not be held against them. It's just going to be a high standard that we push, but we ask you and we expect you to make 24, okay, out of those 30 designed workout opportunities. And you can see how they're laid out in there for you guys this summer, okay? So getting stronger is a priority. I talked to you about the time right now. That was an issue a couple families had, and I wanted to get that ironed out. And the next thing that's kind of been an issue that I'm really having to take with a grain of salt right now, our administration is going to work with all of our coaches to get this outlined and fixed, because we want what is best for the student athlete. That's what we want. I'm not going to come in here as a coach and try to say, I want it this way or it's the highway. I'm not going to say that, because I didn't take this job for those reasons. And that's kind of a win-at-all-cost mentality. You know what I mean? There's more than one way to skin a cat. I figured that out. More than one way to pick up a dead chicken that's been sitting there for 6 weeks. And I figured that out too. I've handled both ends of those things. That ain't very fun. It stinks. It's rough. Okay? So I try to find the best way. Okay? The best way. And that it don't just happen overnight sometimes. So right now, some things that I'm trying to work out, because I don't want these to be issues for anybody. I'm obviously accustomed to 2 pretty elite level high schools that I was a part of or directly connected with. Okay? And I know how those programs handled it. There's obviously always different situations when you kind of come into a new play that you've got to get accustomed to, work with, meet with everybody. And so we're in the process of really working out the football and track thing. That is the big thing right now, because I've told Coach Dean we are going to send football players to track practice. I want our players, our best athletes, need to be running track, need to be running 100 meters, 4x1s, 4x4s. We need to create speed. We've got strength. We've got size. If we're going to win first round, second round, third round, fourth round games, we've got to develop speed. On our track program, which is one of the best facilities in the state, we're going to take advantage of that and use that. Okay? But we also want to be what? Very efficient with our time. Because if you've got multi-sport athletes, you could have a kid up here that's up there until 7 o'clock trying to do all that stuff. And that's not what we want. Okay? Going back to Chuck Broyles, he taught me how to work from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day and get it done. And again, he was the most winningest coach in all of NCAA football to win 150 games, the fastest. So, and he worked from 8 to 3. He said, shut the lights off at 3, go to practice, and go home. Do not go back to the office. And that's just how we worked. We were very efficient with our time. So obviously we're working those things out, because when you get to know Coach Plunkett and you kind of read this philosophy, I like guys lifting weights. I want guys lifting weights. Okay? We're going to dominate those guys in our region this year. We've got to do something to separate ourselves. Okay? We have to do something to separate ourselves. All right? So putting the weight room as a top priority and working out a way to where we're not breaking our kids down, because we do want to break our kids down to a sense. We want to get them mentally tougher. Okay? Mentally tougher. So my vision for that is hit that weight room hard at some point during the day, allow some recovery time, and then have them go to practice. Okay, so that's what I've been accustomed to. Now, my last school that I was at, we really asked a lot of our players, and it was probably too much. But some guys led by example, and they got really tough, and they found out that we won a lot of football games that were successful because of that tough, hard-nosed, grit-my-teeth mentality. Okay, that a lot of people just miss these days, to be honest with you. And we weren't afraid to get under center and run it right at some folks, because most people these days aren't tough enough to have the ball ran right at them. Okay, and our kids really bought into that because they were accustomed to being in fifth period athletics on a 5-block day and grinding out a grueling, killing off-season, taking about 30 minutes and throw a protein shake down and go throw the shot put and go run sprints for about an hour. And that's what they did. So that's my mentality in a nutshell. Now, do I want to make it better than that? Heck yeah. I want to give our kids some recovery time. That's not going to happen overnight, okay? But like I said, we're going to build these guys, and we're going to strengthen their confidence and their mentality. So we need to find ways to get in that weight room right now, every one of us. Everybody understand that? And slowly but surely, every day that goes by, because we're 199 days from kicking off with those suckers from Walker County over there. Everybody got it? And we're going to whip that tail, all right? So So we're going to get in that weight room. All right? Because on 4th and 1, we're going to win. All right? We're going to win. And that's the expectation. Okay? Because here's football. This is football in a nutshell. This is football. You're going to hit me. I'm going to hit you. It's going to hurt. One of us is going to win. One of us is going to lose. Well, I ain't losing. That's the competitor in it. I'm not losing. And it's going to be because I outworked you 365 days a year. And that's just what it's going to come down to in that one-on-one battle. Okay? So when these guys are 20 years from now, they're in a tough situation in their life, they're going to remember that. And say, you know what? I've been through this before. And we're going to stick together and rise up right here. And we're going to hold the pieces together real tight. And I'm going to be the glue as the man. Instead of taking off running, I'm going to be the glue as the man that holds everything together. Because that's what I was taught at Cullman High School, walking those halls and showing up in that weight room and finding ways to get in there. Okay? So that's my mentality. Okay? And my job is to lead by example and create that to be very attractive to these guys. Because they kind of sound scary. Hard work does sound scary. Okay? But it's going to be very attractive to them. And I'm excited about that. Really excited about that. So our off season is everything. Okay? And you will not find a bigger advocate of multi-sport players. I want you playing every sport. If you can pay tiddlywinks, play it. Okay? You just better find the weight room. Now, I'm not going to ask you to ever lift on game day with your second sports. Never. But you find a way. Okay? That's just kind of, you got to find a way. That is it. All right? And it can be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, very interesting stat right here, because I know a lot of you guys in this hall made mention of this, and I'm not trying to be, I've got a lot of Southern Baptist preacher blood in me, so I'm not trying to be too long-winded, because I don't want everybody moving to the back row so fast, okay? We want this thing to be very attractive, so I'm going to try to wind down and get you out of here, okay? Because I know, born and raised and saved in the Southern Baptist Church, all right? So I know lunchtime and dinner time tonight, especially here in Alabama, the South, that's important to a lot of people. It's important to me too. Okay, because I want to see Madison and Mackenzie and Allison before they go to sleep tonight. Okay, in that old country home that we're living in South Joppa right now. So, anyway, making it to the next level. Making it to the next level. The top next level that your son needs to achieve is being a better husband and better father one day because of this program. Don't take things out of priority. Don't sit there and say, if my son don't sign a scholarship, well, you ain't done your job. Don't take that mentality. Okay? Because you're going to throw priorities all out of whack. Make sure your son's showing up to workouts on time. Make sure your son is saying yes sir, no sir. Yes ma'am, no ma'am. Having a 3.0 GPA. Getting in those ACT prep classes. Let's make sure he's doing those things. Because I can assure you that pathway leads to those college scholarships. Yes sir, no sir. Because if your son's talented enough to have Nick Saban come down here and recruit him, or the head coach, Coach Musso at Lindsey Wilson College, over in Rome, Georgia, okay, was with a 25 ACT and a 4.0 GPA, they'll throw about $28,000 at it. Okay? That's it. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And the pathway that we opened at Gardendale is from 2008 to 2012. Before I got to Gardendale, there were 6 players that were added to college rosters. Well, from 2013 to 2017, there were 24. Oh my gosh, how many guys you signed with Auburn? How many guys went to Alabama? Well, nobody. We had a guy go to Eastern Kentucky, and we had a guy go to Troy. We had 2 guys go to Troy. You know, we had some guys go to North Alabama. We had a guy go to West Alabama. We had a guy go to Delta State. Those are all Division II schools. Great football and even better academics. And they're going to get their school paid for. But we had probably 70% of our players out of that 24 got added onto rosters at Division III and NAIA schools because their grades were out of this world fantastic. And they took pride in it every day. And they understood going to class was the most important thing, and showing up and sitting on that first and second row was the most important thing they could do. And developing a quality relationship with that professor, that teacher, okay, was the most important thing. That they looked the teacher in the eye. They were actively taking notes. That they led by example in that classroom. And those are the things that Coach Plunkett is going to be pouring into them every day about that. and supporting the teachers here. Not trying to finagle ways to get a better grade out of a guy. And those teachers knowing that they're getting a swift kick in the rear end by this guy. And we're holding them to something. That it ain't just about, we don't have this football program because we just decided we all like football. We have this football program because of the educational system at this school. You need to understand it goes in that chain. So you skip class, ask, and I'm not going to mention names, so somebody might know his family. They're a great family. But you can ask my starting quarterback in 2014 and 15 that led us to back-to-back record-breaking years, and we shattered the school record at Gardendale. But we'd had probably 40 or 50 points more on top of that record. But he also set his rear end on the sideline in street clothes because he decided to go to Chick-fil-A at 9 a.m. instead of going to biology class on Wednesday of game week. Okay? So those things right there, if I let him play, I'm going against the things I believe in. Because I'm just that guy. I'm not going to apologize to you for this. You're just going to have to understand it. I went kindergarten through 12th grade and didn't miss a single day of school. Yeah, I was that guy. Okay? And I got to ride from Joplin, Alabama over to the high school every day with Ken Plunkett. And he made sure that I was saying yes sir, no sir to those teachers every day. And he didn't really take it easy on this guy. He was hard on him. And I look back now and I see why it was. Okay? I understand why it was. And those things are important to me. That these guys get that education and they understand that. Okay? Talking about our freshman football program. Okay? My goal and my vision, and I've been a part of this and structured at Magnolia West High School, we had a freshman A team, a B team, and a C team. Okay, we had a JV A team, a JV B team, and a JV C team. Then we had a 60-man roster that the state requires to put together for Friday nights. So we had a lot of young men in our football program. Okay, and so obviously we don't have that set up here. But what we're going to do is we're going to develop a freshman football program that's going to be completely separate from our high school practices. Okay, and our goal and vision is to find a freshman head football coach that I don't have to hold his hand, that he is more than qualified to run the things and run our practice schedule, teach our guys our offense and our defense and our special teams that we're going to implement, but he's going to take them and develop them with some assistant coaches on another field, and they're not going to be used as scout team guys and tackling dummies. And I want them to have a great freshman experience like I had, because I couldn't run through wet paper sack in a day. I can tell you when I was a little 8th grader, 9th grader, and if I'd have been thrown out there, I probably hated football too. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I had to hit Joel Ingram every day, okay? He'd have ate my lunch and took my lunch money, I can assure you, okay? But I got to go over there with some coaches that loved on me and cared about me and developed me for a year, and all of a sudden I found out that I got better. And I had more confidence going into my sophomore year. And I felt like I could stand up for myself a little bit. And we want to separate them from not being in that high school locker room. You know, that needs to be for those older guys, being able to create more supervision, you know, for our older guys, making sure we're doing and saying the right things. You know what I mean? You guys, we live in an era of social media that can destroy somebody. And we're going to educate our players on those things, about how one click of a button or one picture can destroy your entire high school career. And it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life. Okay? So I'm one of those people, and I married Allison Daniel, who's now Allison Plunkett. She didn't want to text me Madison McKenzie's Social Security numbers today over the phone. She's like, I'm telling you, they're out there somewhere. My Lord, hon. Good. But hey, that's who I'm married to, and I love her to death. Okay? So, but that's just kind of who I am. We need to be very responsible with that stuff, and we're going to educate our players on that. Okay? And just be more supervised in those areas to make sure that we're respecting our teammates. I get it that there's some things that are going to go on in a high school locker room because it's high school locker room, but we need to limit that to, you know, popping my buddy in the rear end with a towel. You know what I mean? That needs to be the biggest part of things. Because I can go in there and say, hey, it's not possible. That's ridiculous. Okay? That kid don't need to go home with a little whelp on their rear end today from the towel. All right? And I can handle that. You know what I mean? But things we got to cut completely out is just the disrespect. You know what I mean? The disrespect. And let's make sure that nobody is ever worried about walking into that locker room. That parents are happy that their sons are a part of this program and they can see them growing up and maturing and becoming more responsible human beings because of this football program. So anyway, that is the vision for the freshman football program. I'm going to work extremely hard along with our administration to be able to make that happen to some capacity this year, okay? This year. Right now, as you can see, we've got 5 scheduled games. I went ahead and put this together because I wanted this for the meeting. My goal is I'm going to still look for 2 more games on that freshman schedule. Right now, as you can see, we've got 7 junior varsity games on that schedule. And I don't see that changing. Okay, I think we'll be around 7 and 7, hopefully with freshman games and JV games. And obviously, we play an extremely competitive varsity football schedule that the only game that matters on there right now is August 23rd. I don't want you to ask me about any other team, anything else. Okay, you come talk to me about fishing, hunting. Is Alabama going to be good next year? But right now, our focus, these guys' focus right here is on Jasper. That's it. That's it. They had to change their darn name. I guess they didn't like Walker very much. We're going to invite them to the 6A football world. So anyway, Coach Matt Plunkett, Bearcat football philosophy. And really, I've covered it, guys. I want to be the difference maker in your son's life in a positive way. 3 things that are necessary for Cullman to be successful: getting stronger every day, being a disciplined athletic program, outworking our opponents every day. Again, understanding that what are you doing to separate yourself from the competition within the framework of the rules. Okay, I have 2 main goals as the head football coach: teach young men how to compete. More importantly, help mold young boys into successful men. I want Cullman High School and the Cullman school system to be a winning team. I want to get the whole Cullman family, administrators, teachers, students, athletes, band, cheerleaders, community, etc. I mean, absolutely screaming, eat 'em up cats. Let's go. Let's kick that butt and let's have fun doing it. To unite the Cullman family, athletics, band, cheer, community, etc. Make Cullman the premier 6A job in the state of Alabama. And by knowing that 100 different coaches applied for this job, I'd say this is a pretty big job. And I'm very fortunate and excited to be here leading the Bearcats. Okay, so I know this is a great, but we want to win championships here. And you got to build people to win championships. And that's what we're going to do and start with. Make the entire athletic program something special, pride and tradition, and doing everything with integrity and first class. And how you live with integrity and have some class about you is admitting your mistakes, not trying to be something that you're not, because I ain't perfect. I am not Jesus Christ. I ain't the Easter Bunny. I was born and raised in Joppa, Alabama, and shoveled horse poop, picked up dead chickens for most of my life, and I learned how to carry a weed eater down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of fence line. Okay? And I was told, you're going to finish this job before you go do anything else. So we're going to live off those principles at Cullman High School with these young men. I'm excited and really just can't wait to get in the weight room in the morning, to be honest with you, with these guys. We're going to work to become the strongest football team in our region, and we're going to do everything we can to host a playoff game, some of those initial goals, and make people come to Cullman to play. Okay? Make them come to Cullman to play. Okay? And that means we need to finish 1 or 2 in the region next year. And we can solidify that by sending a very strong message against Jasper on August 23rd at 7 p.m. in Oliver Woodard Stadium. So everything that we do, the only thing I'm guaranteed right now that every other 6A program has is time. Like I said, we're 199 days from kickoff. What we do and how we are efficient with these next 199 days will be everything for these young men to be successful. So you've heard my challenge about getting them in the weight room. That has to come from you at home saying, Coach wants your butt in the weight room, get in the weight room. Okay? Get in the weight room. All right? And so I'm going to be there first period and 7th period. Okay? I'm obviously willing to work with these guys. If they need to create their own workout program or something, they're in another sport, I'm going to work with them. I'm going to help them. But understand, I'm also one person. There's a lot of things going on for me right now before and after school. I always open the weight room like clockwork at 6 a.m. at Gardendale, but that was kind of our football weight room. So we were the only people in there. Obviously here, we've got a lot of other sports that are using our weight room, so I can't just walk in there at 6 a.m. We've got our baseball teams kicking butt, taking names in that weight room 3 or 4 days a week right now at 6 a.m. Okay? And I want those guys to be in there. All right? And they need to keep working. They've got a tremendous season in front of them. And I'm going to be one of their biggest supporters. Okay? So obviously we have to be very, very strategic. We have to think outside the box. I need your support as parents, helping find ways to get these guys stronger that are in some other sports right now. Because outside of that, find a way to get in first period or seventh period. Okay? And because that's when I'm there giving to these guys everything I got every day. That's where I'm at. Okay? And we're giving it everything we got. And these guys are working their fannies off that are in there. And it's exciting. So, anybody have any questions about anything? There's about 6 more miles of stuff, but my stomach's calling for something. So, anyway.
I have a question. What are the summer camps that kids go to? What would you recommend to go to this summer?
Fantastic question. I have seen kids burn themselves out, okay, by trying to go to like 20 to 24 different camps. The thing I'll say this, and I don't want any parent in here to misinterpret this. Okay, this statement that I'm going to make is based off experience, not off of a fleshly reaction. Okay, it's based off experience. We've had players that went to 24, 25 camps in the past, and they were willing to pay that $40 fee or travel all over America. And we've had a kid like Stephen Crowder get offered that scholarship by Eastern Kentucky because he decided to go to Eastern Kentucky camp. Okay? And that's great. We've had kids go 24, 25 camps, travel all over America, spend thousands of dollars of gas money, pay that $40 fee, and get 0 offers. You know, and have a kid he took a walk-on offer at UAB that went to thousands and thousands of camps. And sit there and say, well, coach, we just want to provide our kid with every opportunity. And if you're willing to do that as a family, I'm going to support you 100% if that's what you want to do. Just, you better be at 24 workouts, okay? My recommendation, and you can listen to this and take it in, and this is, again, I was a collegiate recruiting coordinator for 5 years, and I was darn good at my job. I was darn good at my job. And you can feel free to email Bart Tatum, Chuck Brulls, any of those guys, and I'll tell you, Matt Plunkett did a bang-up job as a recruiting coordinator at the collegiate level. Okay? I recommend 4 camps. You choose 4. Don't go to Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Georgia, and South Carolina. You choose one SEC school and go have a great experience. Because if you're good enough to get recruited by one SEC school and you go have a great camp, you got me, all of them's going to look at you. Okay? You understand, say, all right, what if an SEC school does not pull the trigger on me? Let's go find a really good FCS school and go to camp there, Jacksonville State, Troy. Go to camp there. All right? Now I've hit my Division I school. I've hit my FCS level school, Jacksonville State, Troy, South Alabama. Pick one of those 3. Because all of those guys are going to send me every brochure, every camp date. They're going to be posted. This Hall will tell you, I've asked for like a message or a post-up board down there every day because I like to post everything for our players to know. They've already posted up 2, and I'm about to ask for another one, so we'll have 3 down there because it's going to be filled up quick. Our players already tell you, my gosh, coach, it already is filled up down there with stuff. Okay? So don't go to Troy, Jacksonville, and South Alabama and UAB. Pick one. Okay? Pick one of those. Okay? Because let me tell you something. If you go to one of them, what you'll see, you'll look around and say, who's that guy? Well, that's the receiver coach at South Carolina. Who's that guy? Well, that's the receiver coach from West Georgia. They're all at those camps. They're all there. They all know they're there. Okay? Even though UAB's running a camp, let me tell you something. Bill Clark, he's trying to attract every athlete in the Birmingham metro area at UAB. And there's 1,000 different coaches at those camps. Some of them are undercover. Some of them, Coach Clark invited to be there. Because he knows the more college coaches are there, the more athletes that they're going to get on his campus. And that's how it works. So pick 4. Okay? So let's say you picked your SEC school you want to go to, great experience. Your FCS level school, your mid-major right there. Then pick a good Division II school. West Alabama, North Alabama. North Alabama's making the jump to Division I, but they're going to have a transition period. They're still going to play half Division II next year and half Division I schedule next year at the FCS level in the Big South Conference. Okay? We've sent about 6 kids to UNA at Gardendale the last 2 years. So we've got a lot of players up there. We've got 2 signing on National Signing Day to North Alabama this next week. So we're really excited about that. But North Alabama's a great camp. It's a fantastic camp. There'll be other D2 schools there. Okay? And then your last one, just to have it, and like I said, where we sent about 80%, 70 to 80% of our players at Gardendale, find you a really good NAIA D3 school. And all you got to do is go to Rome, Georgia over there to Lindsey Wilson. Okay? Or not, no, that's Berry College. Lindsey Wilson's up in Kentucky. All right? I mean, Berry or Lindsey Wilson, Sewanee, they all got camps too. Man, pick 4. Pick 4. Okay? When I was a college coach at Missouri Southern, University of Missouri invited me to their team camp, and I worked it, for 3 straight years. I went every one of them, and I worked it. Then Coach Pink would grab me and say, Plunkett, we got 6 recruits over here that we can't work with today. Why don't you take them down here in this indoor facility? We'll sit up here and kind of evaluate them. And I love stuff like that. But there's D2 coaches at all the Division I camps. They're all there, okay? So don't just think, man, I'm in a D2 camp today. I'm not really going to work very hard today. I know I'm going to Alabama next week. Well, let me tell you something. Wide receiver coach from the University of Missouri might be sitting at that D2 camp. I'm just telling you right now. And if you go have a bad performance at that D2 school that you're kind of big timing, and I've educated our players on this, or the NAIA school, that Division I coach ain't going to recruit you anyway. Because he wants to see you put those ears back and absolutely go 100 miles an hour. All right? Pick 4. And I will sit down in my office and I'll help you pick those 4. Just come to my office, talk with me. You shoot me a text, email, whatever. Okay? And I'll help you pick those 4. But we're going to post all that information all through our facility for our players. Okay? So they can pick those things. If you want to pick one, the best one's going to be the Sanford camp this year because there'll be 38 different colleges there. Okay, Sanford's coach was in my office the other day, and they're going to do the big Sanford Combine again, and there'll be 38 different colleges represented at the Sanford camp this year. The only negative is that you're going to stand in line for about 45 minutes to get 1 rep. Okay, and that 1 rep better be really good. All right? So it's a way, and I'm just telling you, those college coaches know who they want there. All right? And we've already had a couple of our guys. Obviously, we've communicated that with coaches already, so we're going to try to push some guys down in that direction really quick. So, any other questions? I hope I answered that thoroughly. Right. Anybody?
Which I got a couple other things if you're done.
Great, and I'll just say this. Guys, understand something. Sometimes it takes going through some tough situations to realize how fortunate you are. And I can just tell you right now how fortunate I am to be at Cullman City. Be very, very grateful, because what Mr. Knop has talked about from our fundraising, there are other school systems I've been a part of that parents have to do about 12 to 16 different fundraisers. I just left the school, but that's what was asked of our guys because the county supplied nothing. Okay, nothing. And it was a tough situation, really tough. So work our fannies off for these young men over here to have the best opportunity possible. I believe in spending money on 2 things, so you know. And Mr. Knopf told you, we pour this money back into our kids. Player development and player safety. Okay, we're going to put our kids in the best equipment. Okay, and we're going to work as hard as we can to develop these players. That's what our money will be spent on. Obviously, we're going to feed our guys. Make sure, because you know they love to eat. Y'all are feeding them right now. They love to eat. But player development and player safety will be the 2 main things that Coach Matt Plunkett spends money on. Miss Hall will tell you that right now. Those are the things that are coming across her desk that she's signing. Player development, player safety. Player development, player safety. We want them in the best equipment, okay? And we want to make sure that they're growing and developing and maturing in the right way. And that we want to take every pathway we possibly can to do it right. Anything else? Guys, it's a great day to be a Bearcat. Awesome. Take a look at it. Team, hands up. Cats.
I got just a couple of things. If you did not fill your forms out and get your tickets, there's tables set up, senior, junior, sophomore, freshman. stop, get your tickets, and get 2 forms and make sure they're filled out for us, okay? We've got a few weeks, about 3 weeks, until our drawdown starts, so we're on a short time. That means we gotta get these things sold pretty quick. I know Coach is talking to the boys, and the parents are responsible, but the young guys are responsible too. And you've gotta want to go out here and sell these. I believe Coach has got some pretty intense workouts that happens in July. And if you sell when you get your 5 tickets sold, I think one of them, I'm gonna let him tell you.
Yeah, right here, if you'll look at July 23rd and 27th on this calendar, it says final week of summer workouts. And sitting here today, and I've already visited with Coach Turner about this, we're gonna bring our 7th and 8th graders in at 7:15, and we're gonna work them out in our weight room, and at 8 o'clock, our varsity programs are gonna come in, okay? So we're gonna start really developing those guys now and get them going. We got one of the best weight rooms in the state, if not the best. So we're gonna do conditioning tests that last week of July. And I'm a big 2 tester, okay? And I always use this to our advantage, is everybody is gonna do that first one. Right there where it says team conditioning test, shuttles for time, 50 of them mandatory on July 23rd. But if you wanna be exempt from that second one, you better have 5 drawdown tickets sold, okay? And that's just, go ahead and put that in concrete. Everybody understand? So anyway.
As you fill these forms out, we'll be getting your numbers, and we will correspond, but the due date is February the 20th. We've got to have all your money turned in, okay? February the 20th. And if you could, I've been asked by the ladies that keep up with it, the envelope that you will give them the tickets, you will, if you can, return that with your money in it. It will help because it's got numbers on there. We can do it a different way, but if you can do that, they ask that you turn that in. But we will communicate with you exactly where to turn the money in at, where to turn it in. We'll have stations, certain times where you just come by, drop your money off, and you're done, okay? But if you didn't get them, please see those people out there. And
When is the next quarterback club meeting?
it'll probably be the 20th of February, which will be the last day we turn those in. That'll be a Tuesday night. And we will get that out to
The
you.
last thing I'll say, just because I want to be a huge help with this, because I know I just made a very, very big statement right there about our conditioning test. Look, the thing I'll hear is, Coach, I don't know anybody to sell them to, okay? I've got a ton of people in my family that'll all come to this thing. If you're one of those people that just aren't connected with somebody, come talk to me. I'm going to give you a phone number and a name of somebody to call, okay? If you're one of those people that feel like you're not connected, I'm going to give you a phone number and a name that somebody that will support this program, and all you got to do is call them, and they're going to say, sounds good, give me the ticket, I'll get you $100 or $125 and get insurance. Okay? Everybody understand that? Because we're going to do what it takes to support this program.
That's all I've got. Thanks again for being here. We appreciate it.